Hello, YouTube. All right, let's go live on Instagram. I think I'll speak to you today. Let's wait to see if this goes live. Hello, Instagram. All right, we are live, Instagram and YouTube. I just came off a really good client call, and something that I want to touch on is getting really in tune with yourself to understand if you are in a victim mentality, if you are staying in loops and unhelpful patterns and unhelpful behavior that you consciously know, right? If you're watching this, you've been doing the personal development work, you have been working on yourself, you intuitively know that what you were doing or what you were choosing to do is not serving you, yet you find yourself attached and addicted to staying in those loops. What I want you, I think this will be a bit of a shorter live, but this is just fresh from my client call. And something that I asked her to work out is like, what is really the addiction or the attachment to staying where you are versus where you want to go. If you're watching this, you're a high achiever, you're ambitious, you're a go getter. You have a great big vision for your life and you want to make something of your life. You want to have a life of inspiration, a life of abundance. But I want you to ask yourself, where am I staying in a victim mentality? Where am I staying at a level of consciousness that is a victim mentality that I am attached to, that I am addicted to staying in? Because when we realize and can recognize what we are addicted to and what we are actually choosing to be attached to, we can then realize the disconnect of why we are staying where we are in a victim mentality, complaining, blaming, not moving forward, blaming the algorithm, the economy, the government, our parents, our ex, like anything, versus having a different perception on life and actually moving into that and actually saying, no, like I can change, or I can change my behavior, or I'm going to make the conscious effort to change my behavior. I use this analogy a couple of times over the past couple of days, but changing your behavior consciously and making changes to your identity is like learning how to drive a car. When I was 16, I learned how to drive a manual car. And so when I was learning how to drive a manual car, I was thinking of a million and one things, right? Changing the gears, the clutch, the brake, accelerator, the fixing my mirrors, my seatbelt, watching my blind spots, looking at the traffic lights, looking at the roundabouts, who's next to me, a million and one things, right? It wasn't a autopilot movement. It was something I had to really, really consciously think about. But now when I get inside a car, it is embedded in me. And you have to keep practicing, right? If I imagine if I got in and I tried a few times and I was like, it's too overwhelming, I can't do it, like I can't be bothered to actually think and use my brain consciously, and driving is too hard, or the condition, like victim mentality, right? Imagine if I do that, I would stay constricted. And so every time, and if I kept doing those loops of like trying, stopping, starting, I'm never actually achieving what I want to do. And so a lot of people, they try for a certain amount of time, even high achievers, and high achievers, they can be the worst for this. You will try for a certain amount of time, you will have so much momentum. And then when you're about to hit the spot, that is going to change your life. Quite literally, you constrict, you pull back, because you look at and go, it's not as easy as I expected it to be, or my standards were different, but I'm going to blame the economy. I'm going to blame the algorithm. I'm going to blame the fact that XYZ. And so we constrict and we move back and we don't get the results that we want to do. And that is a victim mentality. That is a survival consciousness. Yesterday, I hosted the calls for identity evolution, and we focused on up leveling your consciousness through identity work. And one of those aspects is understanding that survival consciousness is your old identity. And in that, awakening consciousness is the in-between identity. I see so many high achievers go between an old identity and in between, and they're trying to get this new identity, which is the enlightened consciousness of who they're trying to become, but they don't, because they stay rooted in fear and scarcity, and they stay rooted in feeling like they have to do things or they should do things, and think and the external world and people are here to blame. When you take responsibility for the part that you play in your own suffering, something shifts, not only energetically, but in this 3D physical reality. Something will shift and it will change, and it will change the trajectory of your life. So if you right now, especially as we at time of this recording, as we are getting towards the end of the year and you feel like you're not seeing the results that you really want to see, or you feel that it's this uphill struggle, or it's really, really hard, and you don't have no idea why, look at the disconnect. Look at, why am I attached and addicted to staying in a mentality that is survival consciousness, that is a victim mentality, that is rooted in fear and scarcity and a lower vibration? Why am I addicted to that? Where's the disconnect? Versus actually moving in and making the conscious effort. Nothing's just easy breezy, right? We still have to have a conscious effort into the identity that I desire, into the person, the programming that I desire. So that's the question for you. I want you to look at is, what am I addicted to? What am I attached to when it comes to my current identity and my current circumstances? What am I trying to avoid if I was to step into a brand new reality, a brand new identity? What am I avoiding? And so, to make ourselves feel better, that's when we go into a victim mentality where we blame our parents, we blame our ex, we blame that we don't have the resources, we blame we don't have enough time, enough money. And instead of getting resourceful, instead of looking at it from a enlightened perspective, we would rather sit in the survival consciousness, the victim mentality. So start to look, where are you addicted? Where are you attached to when it comes to your current identity? What's the disconnect? What are you trying to actually avoid? AKA, is it the success? Is it the responsibility? Is it the time in it? Like, what is it you're actually avoiding? And so you're staying in a victim mentality. Anyway, that was fresh off my client call. I am going to go now, but if you want an extension of this, I highly, highly recommend listening to the podcast, the Jessica Pinili podcast. And if you want to learn more, just like my client, and we workshop this for an hour, highly recommend getting into my short-term one-on-one that I have currently available. It is called the Visionary 2025 Planning Edition. As it suggests, we not only do an overhaul of your life and business or career for 2025 and get really strategic, we also do this identity work, because you can have all of the strategy in the entire world. You can have the perfect way to run a business, to market, to sell, or how to build up the corporate ladder. But unless you see yourself and perceive yourself at your core root as someone that has its successes and the identity as you desire, everything's going to fall short. It's going to feel like you're forever climbing the summit. And so inside of this 4-week container, it is one-on-one, all of the details, YouTube, show notes below, Instagram, link in bio on my story, or just send me a DM. But yeah, like I said, in the Visionary 2025 Planning Edition, we dive in deep into not only refining your goals that are ambitious yet attainable, we go into refining you as a high achiever. Because if you had achieved your current goals, if you had achieved what you wanted to achieve, you would have done that by now. But the reason that you haven't achieved what you wanted is more than likely the way you perceive yourself and the way that you view yourself in the external world, or as a business owner, or in your career. So that's what we work on specifically in the Visionary. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I appreciate you all, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.